It's another fine day for another new episode of Seeds of Success. Dottie, how are you doing today?
I am great, Orly. How are you?
I'm good. So if
Good.
someone is new to the show, I mean, we haven't really mentioned that lately. Somebody might be new. Make sure to give us a follow on all our social medias. At Beyond the Frame on Instagram, on TikTok, and where else are we? Facebook. And as we said, Beyond the Frame, but also, we post our Seeds of Success updates there. And when we have a new show, which we do weekly, we've been really good about that. So yeah, and if you first time here, again, I'm Orly. This is Dottie. If you guys ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on social media. And we're always welcome to listen to new ideas. Maybe if people have an idea for a new show, I'm always open to listening. I don't know. I'm sure you are too, Dottie.
Yes, I am. And Orly, for those that are maybe listening to us for the first time, we are here to provide inspiration. We're here to provide a little tiny bit of information that maybe you hadn't thought about, or maybe you hadn't thought about in a long time, or maybe you had forgotten about, right? And we want to give you maybe a different perspective on things, or maybe to give you a simple reminder that, okay, by the way, folks, this is something that we can be concentrating on, and we can do, a couple of things, and we can get, this result. So our goal is to provide little tiny seeds that you then can nurture. And the next thing you know, it's kind of like savings. You put $5 in, you put $5 in, you put $5 in, and the next thing you know, oh my gosh, I have quite a little nest egg, and it really didn't take a lot. So we want to just keep planting these little seeds, and we hope that you enjoy it. There's things that can apply to your everyday life. There's things that can apply to your business, your relationships, and just life in general. So we hope you enjoy it. And today's show is no different. I'm really excited about this show. I'm excited about all of our shows, right?
Yeah,
So
I'm
I
excited about them
sound like a
too.
broken record.
No,
Um,
I'm excited too. We and just to go back to on what you said, is sometimes just that little, seed, that little nugget will kick off something for you. Because I know there's times where I'm like, hey Dottie, what about this? And sometimes it might not turn into what I was kind of thinking, but it takes Dottie's seeds grow from a seed to a huge, I don't know, what are the biggest trees that are out there? But sometimes,
Forrest.
yeah, the whole forest. Yeah. So sometimes just that little idea will kick off something to help you to go in that same direction, or maybe it might kick off in a whole nother direction. But those little seeds are definitely going to help. So yeah, as Dottie was just about to say, this week's show, keep calm and move on. This is an important one. I think this everyone has probably dealt with what we're going to talk about today. Dottie, you think?
Yes, yes, I definitely think so. And really now, um, there's so much struggle these days with keeping a good quality staff, and keeping people motivated. And we want to deliver a fantastic experience to our customers and stuff. And sometimes that's a trick, right? And we
Yeah.
have to be very mindful of things that we're doing, and things that we can do that maybe we're not doing, that can really help with that.
Yeah. So,
So,
so, so yeah, no, today, we're going to talk, like what we said, keep calm and move on. This could be anything from, a rude customer, which, we don't like to admit when people are rude, but everyone is going to have a rude customer here and there. And you got to think about it. We've talked about this with other things. You never know what somebody's going through. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad person or they're just here to cause a ruckus. They might just be having a bad day, and it's caused them to be a little rude towards your staff. And I think part of the keeping calm is you can't take offense to that. You still got to try to make them happy. They say kill people with kindness, and I think that's what you got to do. You got to stay kind, and you just got to kind of try to help them through their issue, whatever it is, and hopefully they have a successful turnout. I mean, I've had a customer before, have a little bit of bad experience with the lane being broke or something went down. I took care of what I needed to take care of. By the end of their visit, they came up and said, hey, we weren't too excited when we first got here with some of the things that went on, but you turned it around. We loved it. It was our first time here. We can't wait to come back. So I think there's a lot that goes into that.
there is a lot that goes into that. And a lot of times, first of all, I want to start out by saying that inevitably things cannot go perfect all the time. We know that, right? Things are going to happen. But when you are making sure that you are striving to deliver a stellar experience, an experience that you have paid attention to all the details and you have made sure that your staff is trained and everything, you have made as much preparation as you can to make sure that customers' experiences are on par. They're exceeding their expectations. I will tell you that when something does happen, which it will, that if the experience up to that point had been good, then it is much easier for you to get a handle on that situation because the customer has been having a good experience up to that point. Does that make, am I
No,
making sense what I'm
yeah,
saying?
no, it makes sense.
Okay. So, but the other thing that I want to say is when something does go wrong, it's really important that when a customer approaches you, that you make sure that they realize that you're listening. And I'm gonna clarify that. I'm gonna go into detail on that just a little bit. I know it sounds self-explanatory, but it really is not. When you have a customer approach you, make sure that you stop. If you are walking on the concourse and that customer says, "Hey, I'm having an issue," stop, turn towards towards that customer and look at them. Look at them in the eyes. Don't be, motioning to the lane attendant and wording, "Hey, go down to lane 2 and clean that up." No, give them your undivided attention. Listen. Listen with the intent of, I want to hear what you're saying. I want to hear what your problem is. And I'm here to fix your problem. That little gesture makes a huge difference.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I agree with you. Because if your attention is somewhere else, they notice that, and that's just gonna make them more mad, and that's again, as much as mad as they are, and even if you don't agree with what they're mad at, the whole purpose of, is you want to keep them calm. Even if they're wrong, you want to make them more comfortable about the situation. You want to be able to help them out. You want to be able to de-escalate it and make them happy by the end of it.
the other thing that I would like to bring up in a situation like this is if your frontline workers have a customer that is just giving them an earful, stepping in and removing that employee from that situation goes a long way to help that employee feel supported. Not every employee has the ability to maybe know how to de-escalate that situation.
Yeah.
And if you automatically step in instead of waiting for that employee to tell the customer, "Let me go get my manager," then that also sends out a good message and it removes that employee from, sometimes customers can be really ugly. And especially if you have younger frontline workers, man, customers can say things that really hurt and they take it to heart, right? None of
I
us
think some
want
people
that.
want to almost try to trigger the employee to get mad at them. I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes that happens. They're like, kind of like, "Oh, if I push you over the edge, what am I going to get out of this?" So then I could complain about you. And not to cut you off there, but it's going back to what you said. Sometimes people just want to hear from another person or a manager for some reason if they're already focused on being mad at that employee up front. Because I've had people be like, "Well, I just want to talk," like they come up to me or they see me and I say, "Is there something I can help you with?" "Well, I just want to talk to a manager." And they're very mad. And I say, "Well, I actually am the manager." "Oh, well, this happened." And they kind of calm down already. So sometimes just knowing they're talking to somebody else or someone that's higher than that person for some odd reason will make them happy. So yeah, you had a good point about stepping in. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And the other thing is, none of us want our employees to ever be put in a situation where they get yelled at. And I'm going to say something, Orly. You may think I've fallen out of a tree, but
Oh,
there are customers that it's okay to fire them as your customer.
yeah.
When they get belligerent and they are unreasonable and they won't listen to reason by anybody, from anyone, and you have made every effort possible to rectify whatever their problem was, and they still don't want to be, they're making a scene. The poor front counter person is crying already. It's okay for you to tell them that there are other centers in the city, or there's other places, but that it's okay for them not to be your customer.
Yeah, I agree. There's going to be some customers that, I mean, I speak from personal experience. Someone that was upset, and saying all these things. And well, there's two things about this. One thing is you're going to get the customers that are mad, upset, or just trying to cause a big deal. They're going to go into, I mean, this could be a whole different show. They're going to go into your Yelp, your Google reviews, and they're going to just
Right.
go. I've had a family come in and they did about 12 Google reviews, 1-star complaints. They all have the same last name. So obviously they just went and they wanted to bring that. So one thing I was going to say about that is you can't worry about that stuff. I'm big on, yeah, you want to see good things, all, 4 or 5 stars, whatever it is, but people are going to come in and they're going to experience for themselves the way you carry yourself and the way your staff does. Another thing I was going to say is some people, and I hate to say it, some people just aren't happy. They want to cause those problems. We've had that same families come in before, but the funny thing is, they're back all the time. So we
Yeah.
must not be
There's
that
something
bad
that
of a
keeps
center.
bringing them back.
Yeah, it's just because they want to. Sometimes I think people just want to do it to maybe get something out of it. I don't know, but yeah, they keep coming back. So I just think of it as like we're not that. Obviously we know we're not a bad place, but hey, we must not be that bad. You're still coming back. So
Right. And Orly, when you know that you are delivering a great experience and you have surrounded yourself with staff that understands what the expectation is, that you want every customer that walks into your door to have an experience like no other, and they themselves are having a good time. If you know that you are meeting all of your metrics, all of your expectations are being met or exceeded, and you've done everything that you can do, and you're still getting that, then sometimes, like you said, customers are complaining for a different reason. They're
yeah,
complaining to see what they can get out of it. I hate to think that way, and it took me
yeah,
many, many, many years to realize that there are people that do that. It discourages me that there's people in this world that like to do that, but it's a reality. And those people are going to complain for the sake of complaining no matter what.
yeah,
And so you have to, as the title of the show is Keep Calm and Move On. That's really what you have to do. You've done
yeah,
everything that you can do. You've tried to satisfy this customer. And as I said, there's some customers, there's just no satisfying.
yeah,
And those are the customers that you appreciate their business, but it's obvious that you cannot meet, much less exceed their expectations. And you're really sorry about that, but maybe another bowling center could.
yeah,
And that's okay, right? And sometimes when you say that to a customer, which I don't like doing, but boy, their whole mindset changes. They become, your loudest praise. But the main thing is no staff member deserves to be put through a tongue lashing from a
yeah,
customer. And when you can step in and de-escalate it and stay calm, and as I said earlier, the one of the first things that you can do to try to calm down the customer is to make sure that they realize that you are listening and they have your undivided attention.
yeah,
That matters.
yeah, and I try to make people happy, but I also feel it's important to stick to your guns about certain things. So
Mhm.
first off, sometimes just listen. What can I help you with? And they might say, well, all I wanted was this or this or this. And they might haven't mentioned that to the last person. So sometimes you say, oh, we can take care of that for you right now. And then sometimes it's done, they're happy again. Well, I didn't know I'd get that done. And you fix it. But what I was saying about sticking to your guns is, for instance, let's say somebody's like, well, I want cheese curds in my burger. Well, unfortunately, and they are telling me we don't do that. Some people might go on and say, we'll do it for you. I'm a little big on sticking to my guns because I don't want to put my employee in a position that, well, I'll do it for you. They didn't do it. Well, they didn't do it for me. I'm kind of like, well, unfortunately, we don't do that, as they mentioned to you. We don't do that. I'm sorry about that. It's just company policy. And I think that's very important.
Yes, and you know what? You gain a lot of respect from your employees when you do
Yeah.
that. A lot. And they will remember that. There are some situations, and I would hope that you have empowered your employees to be able to have some leniency on things that they can do, that they can make exceptions to minor things, right? Um, and they can solve some of these smaller issues, right? But to support uh, the employee and back them in what they've said, boy, that goes a long way to create loyalty from that employee.
Yeah, you think about it, you're only gonna, you might be satisfying that customer that you might not ever see again. But if you kind of put your employee down, there's someone that's going to work for you longer than, you're seeing them every day.
100%, 100%. Well, Orly, I think we've dropped a lot of little seeds today. Any other seeds that you have you'd like to share with our listeners today?
I think one of the big parts of this is just like the title says, keep calm and move on. I think if never step out of character and be someone you're not, and let them get you mad, because people will see that and be like, oh wow, he did get mad, he did blow up on that customer. If you just stay calm and stay in your same, keep your same personality, always keep your same tone, I think you'll be fine. So I think that's important.
Yes, for sure. And always remain professional,
Yeah.
right? Always remain professional. So that goes without saying. Well, listeners, Orly and I are very happy that you gave us a few minutes of your time today to share with you some of the things that we think are just, sometimes we get busy and sometimes a customer can certainly trigger you in what you might initially want to do and what is the right thing to do. Sometimes that might be two different things. So next time you have a customer that ruffles your feathers, try to think back of what we talked about today and stay calm and stay focused and don't let them get to you. Just handle it and be done with it.
Don't be so
So
quick. Don't be so quick to put on the boxing gloves. Just take a deep breath, and you'll be okay.
you definitely will be okay. Listeners, thanks for tuning in today, and we look forward to seeing you next week on another episode of Seeds of Success.